Days of Our Lives, Gabi as Vivian confesses to Stefan's kidnapping. Will Gabby sacrifice her new life to rescue the man she never stopped loving? Salem is once again on the brink of chaos, and this time, the storm begins with the unexpected return of one of the most formidable and cunning women in Days of Our Lives history, Vivian. Fresh out of Statesville under mysterious circumstances, Vivian wastes no time stirring up trouble. Her early release alone raises questions, but it's her shocking admission during a confrontation with Gabi that sends shockwaves through the town and sets off a series of events no one could have predicted. In the week of April 14th to 18th, longtime fans will be riveted as Gabi comes face-to-face with the woman who's caused her so much heartbreak. While Gabi has done her best to move forward after what she believed was the end of her marriage to Stefan Demera, she's about to learn that everything she thought she knew was a lie crafted and executed by none other than Vivian herself. Vivian's return is more than just a personal affront to Gabi. It's a reminder of unfinished business, buried secrets, and a painful past that refuses to stay silent. When Gabi confronts Vivian, she expects hostility. What she doesn't expect is a confession, calculated, cruel, and delivered with Vivian's signature smirk that she kidnapped Stefan and forged his signature on their divorce papers. Vivian, as it turns out, has been orchestrating Gabi's heartbreak from the shadows all along. What begins as a heated argument quickly spirals into a devastating emotional bombshell. Vivian confirms that Stefan never wanted to leave Gabi. In fact, he was determined to repair their relationship. But he never got the chance. Instead, he was drugged, manipulated, and shipped off to Alemania under the watchful eye of Vivian's loyal servant Ivan Murray. And while Gabi was left to grieve a love she believed had been discarded, Stefan was being held against his will, possibly even brainwashed to believe that Gabi had moved on. Gabi is devastated. Her heart, which had only recently begun to heal, is suddenly ripped wide open. She had finally found some stability, even love again, with J.J. Devereaux. Yet the moment she hears the truth from Vivian's own lips, her world begins to crumble. The fury, the disbelief, the pain. It all returns like a tidal wave, threatening to wash away the new life she had built. But the most dramatic twist. Gabi doesn't hesitate. As Vivian continues to gloat about Stefan's supposed absence of feelings for Gabi, even suggesting that Stefan has moved on emotionally, Gabi's instincts kick in. She refuses to believe that the man she once shared her soul with would abandon her so easily. Her love for Stefan, buried, bruised, and neglected, comes roaring back to life. Within hours of the confrontation, Gabi makes a heart-wrenching decision. She ends things with JJ, unable to lie to him or herself any longer. JJ, blindsided by the sudden breakup, can only watch as Gabi rushes off, driven by equal parts rage and love, determined to uncover the truth and find the man who was taken from her. Her journey may lead her across borders and into dangerous territory, but Gabi is resolute. She will not rest until Stefan is safe and until Vivian pays for the pain she has caused. Vivian, ever the master manipulator, doesn't seem too concerned. In fact, she appears pleased with the chaos she has unleashed. For her, Stefan's separation from Gabi is not just revenge, it's control. And yet, in classic Vivian fashion, there are layers to her actions that no one has yet uncovered. Why did she really want Stefan out of Salem? What kind of programming, if any, did she use on him while he was in Alemania? Is he truly safe, or is there more to this exile than even Gabi realizes? And what of Gabi? Is she walking into a trap far bigger than she can imagine? With Stefan's whereabouts still a mystery and Vivian's intentions unclear, she's heading into uncharted territory. But one thing is certain, Gabi is not a woman to be underestimated. When she loves fiercely. And when she's wronged, she fights with everything she has. As the mystery deepens, Salem prepares for another seismic shakeup. Gabi's abrupt departure stuns those closest to her, especially JJ, who is left heartbroken and confused. Meanwhile, the Demera family is once again forced to reckon with the dangerous legacy of their matriarch as questions about Stefan's true condition begin to surface. Could Stefan be on his way back to Salem with no memory of Gabi at all? Will Gabi's efforts be in vain if the man she rescues no longer remembers the love they shared? Or could her unwavering faith and courage reignite the bond they once had and bring Stefan back to her in every way? One thing is for sure. Gabi's journey is far from over. In fact, it may only just be beginning. As Days of Our Lives continues to weave this emotionally charged and high-stakes storyline, fans over 65 and longtime viewers can expect all the hallmarks of classic soap drama, romance, betrayal, redemption, and one woman's fierce battle against a manipulative villain to reclaim the love of her life. Stay tuned. Salem is about to witness a rescue mission that will shake the very foundations of the Demera dynasty. And at the center of it all stands Gabby. Heartbroken, furious, but more determined than ever. Because when love is real, no distance is too great, and no enemy too powerful. Next, a quiet afternoon at home. Chanel arrived home carrying a steaming tray of chamomile tea. Just the kind her mother loved. She found her mother seated at the kitchen table, arms crossed and lips pressed into a tight line. The air was heavy with unspoken tension. As Chanel set the teapot down, her mother's eyes flashed with anger. "I can't believe you actually thought you shot him," her mother said, voice trembling with a mix of hurt and disbelief. Chanel's shoulders slumped. She had been through so much lately, so many moments of fear, confusion, and heartbreak. "I know," she whispered, reaching out to gently touch her mother's hand. I'm in a bad place right now. Everything feels so uncertain, especially with Johnny's state of mind." Her mother's frown softened slightly, but the pain remained. Chanel knew that her own turmoil was reflected in Johnny's struggle to come to terms with what had happened to their family. Johnny's return and confession shortly after Paulina, Chanel's grandmother, left the house. Johnny walked in. His face was drawn, the usual spark in his eyes replaced by a deep weariness. He paused in the doorway, removed his jacket, and sank into a chair at the kitchen table. "I was at the hospital," he began, voice low. "I went to see Dad. And I ran into Mom." Chanel leaned forward, concern knitting her brow. "How did they go?" she asked softly. Johnny took a deep breath as if gathering strength. "It was complicated. I'm still trying to understand how she could fall in love with him, how she could stay with a man who did such terrible things." He paused, his gaze distant. "But I also saw how much he loves her. And in that moment I felt closer to her than I have in a long time." Chanel watched him carefully. She had always known Johnny to be strong and steady, but today he seemed fragile, like a vase that might shatter at any moment. Memories and rage. Johnny's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "When I visited him, I tried to remember all the good times. When we laughed together, when he taught me how to ride my bike, how he read me bedtime stories. But every memory was tainted by one truth: the man who raped Mom." His voice cracked as he spoke the words aloud. "All I could think was, he got what he deserved." Chanel felt her heartache for her brother. She reached across the table and took his hand. "Johnny, it's okay to feel angry. You can feel whatever you need to feel. Thoughts aren't actions." Johnny squeezed her hand, grateful for her calm reassurance. "I know," he said quietly, "but sometimes it feels like my anger is all I have left." A grandmother's fight for justice. Chanel took a slow sip of her tea and then told Johnny about Paulina's efforts. "Grandma Paulina is working with the district attorney to bring charges against him," she explained. "She's determined that justice is done." Johnny nodded. "I appreciate that," he said. "But he could still die in prison, right?" Chanel's expression softened. "That's true," she acknowledged. "But Grandma believes that facing the consequences is important. It's about holding him accountable." Johnny looked down at the table, wrestling with conflicting emotions. On one hand, he longed for closure. On the other, he dreaded the finality of a life sentence. Chanel squeezed his hand again, offering silent support. Sammy's concern at the hospital. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Sammy paced in a quiet corner of the waiting area. She held her cell phone to her ear, her voice low and steady. "Yes, Sydney, he's still unconscious," she said, pausing to listen. "The doctors are doing everything they can." Sammy's brow furrowed as she ended the call. She tucked her phone into her pocket and spotted Johnny approaching. Relief washed over her face. "Johnny," she said softly, stepping forward. Johnny managed a small smile but shook his head. "I'm sorry, Sammy. I need to be alone for a while. I want to go home and think." Sammy's concern deepened. "Of course," she said gently. "Take all the time you need." As Johnny turned to leave, Sammy reached out and touched his arm. "I'm proud of you," she whispered. "You've come a long way." Johnny paused, his back still to her. "Rafe helped me," he admitted. "He taught me how to listen without judging. I'm grateful for that." Sammy nodded, her eyes misty. She opened her mouth to ask the question that had been on her mind, what she had been about to say earlier, but then she thought better of it. She let the moment rest, choosing instead to give Johnny the space he needed. A family united in turmoil in this turbulent time. The family finds itself bound together by love, pain, and the quest for justice. Chanel strives to be a pillar of strength for her mother and brother, offering reassurance in the face of overwhelming grief. Johnny wrestles with memories that both comfort and torment him, torn between love for his father and righteous anger over the past. Sammy hovers on the sidelines, worried yet hopeful, ready to lend her support when needed. Through it all, one truth remains clear: family endures. Even when the path ahead is shrouded in uncertainty, the bonds of love and shared history offer a guiding light. For our beloved viewers, these stories remind us that forgiveness and healing are possible, even after the deepest wounds. Thank you for joining us today. We'll continue to bring you every twist and turn from Salem, keeping you informed and engaged with the characters you've grown to care about. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.